Hello, welcome to the Moving Teacher. I'm Brian, and I'll be your guide. So, on today's video, we're going to talk about presentation. We've added a video, or I've added a video that I use when teaching my students on giving a presentation. Now, when teaching abroad, most students are able to read and write. They're going to struggle more when it comes to listening and speaking because they might have less exposure or they might not know there's different tones and accents when speaking English or any languages, and they might not be that confident in speaking. So, what you want to do in this case to make sure that they're improving in speaking and listening. And today's episode is going to be a two-part. We're going to focus more on the speaking. Next video will focus on the listening. So on the speaking, the best way to do this is to have group presentations. Try to have somewhere between 3 to 5 students in a group. Nothing more because it could get a little too crazy, and nothing less because then they're gonna look. Two students are gonna look at each other like we maybe need that one extra person. So the way I've taught students to improve is in the beginning of each class, depending on how many groups you have, you'll pick one group randomly, maybe two, depending on the time, and they'll have to give us presentation on something. So in the beginning, you want to make sure that it's fun, that it's easy. So maybe like favorite color, an icebreaker, favorite food, some place to travel. And you want to do this initially for a first round, going through all the groups once. This way, it lets them to build this foundation. Allow them to use paper or look at a PowerPoint for a little bit, but do tell them that they should practice more outside the classroom. And the reason why is you don't want them to feel that they can only practice once they're in English class. So when you're doing this, so when you're picking something that's easy, you try to tell them, give key points of maybe what you're looking for. So maybe you tell this student, okay, I want to know what's your favorite food. And then this person can talk about where this food comes from, things of this. And now it's adding more structure. And it lets them to break down this research individually. After initial first round of easy, try to get some feedback and try to make it a little bit challenging, but not too challenging where they might not even know what the subject is. So you don't want to teach them something maybe about uh, aerospace, something about business if they don't really have much knowledge in. If it's something they're majoring in, definitely do it because it's gonna get them knowing a English and speaking, but two, more within their studies. This is gonna help them overall. Now, after this, a fun part which I like the most is having the rest of the class to give constructive feedback. So, a great example of this, maybe a student was quiet and you can point it out. Maybe a student could point it out and say, hey, someone was quiet. Or maybe someone was looking at a sheet of paper. You want to have these feedback because it's going to help each person to see, okay, this is area where I'm struggling with, and this is how I can get better with. So if someone was quiet, you can then tell the class or even the group, what are ways can a person get more confident in speaking loud? And so maybe someone says they should just scream it out, sing it out, something. Practice more. Um, Practice more with their teammates and things of that nature. And same thing if they're reading on the sheet of paper. Maybe same thing. They should have practiced more. Maybe not have too much stuff. Maybe simplify it where it's more easier. So instead of 20 points, break it down to three things, and go more into detail. And the reason why you want to do that is because it's going to help those students to see areas where they need to improve on and to work hard. And you also want to make sure on the positive. So maybe you can say, hey, class, what are areas that they're good at? Were they loud? Were they speaking a long time? What did you learn? Things like this. Then the rest of the class can then give out this positive feedback. And the group doesn't feel like they did a bad job. Now they're starting to see, oh, wow, we did this and this and this. And at the end of the day, as long as you keep doing this every day throughout the semester or the program, the students are going to find out, wow, this is easy and this is fun. And we can speak in front of 10, 20, 30, 40 people. And we're more confident. And we're not scared as how we were maybe in the beginning. So that's what you want to do more in the presentation is finding topics that are easy, building with on top of it, making sure that the groups have between 3 to 5 students, giving them pointers of how you want the presentations to be, letting them use some resource in the beginning, like sheet of paper, maybe PowerPoint, and other fun things, using creativity. And then from that, let them use, well, the rest of the group class to give constructive feedback. Because at the end of the day, when students are having an environment where they can speak, well, now they can go into speaking competitions. They can join the English club. They can volunteer, internships. They can do a lot more and say, wow, this one little thing that we do at the beginning of the class really benefits me. From my experience, to make this long story short, uh, my students, when I've done this, I've had them to dress professionally for like their final exam as a group presentation. I've tried to find ways where they'll have fun, but then sometimes challenging topics. I had it where in the beginning they'll have the sheet of paper, but then eventually I tell them no more paper, we're not using that. The PowerPoint, maybe in the beginning, maybe it's all crazy. Then they had it more simplified and not so many colors and pictures and not so much words. It's something where you're like, wow, this is professional and I can read this. I had it where students maybe use 5 seconds of audio, which helped out whether it be a movie, song, something where it can back it up. I've had it where even students were even creative and were having a game show and they were asking students in the crowd questions and giving out prizes such as candy and things of that nature. And just seeing them to say, wow, we're learning and growing. And also going to competitions where they were winning in English speaking competition against full native English majors and getting internships, volunteering. And so that's what you want to do more with the speaking. Get them more involved, put them more into groups. It's going to help the group to have that foundation and to work hard and to know the areas of their strength and their weakness. And the weakness in the beginning, it's going to be like this. Towards the end, it's going to be like this or maybe like this. And just having that positive. Again, my name is Brian, and thank you for watching The Moving Teacher. And again, follow us on Facebook. Do use our amazing website. I do my best that I can to update with as much content as possible because I want to help out those within the field and those wanting to go into the field. And our next video next week will focus more on listening. Again, thank you again and see you next time.